vintage watches, and I'm going to be showing you guys another vintage Omega that we have in our store today. It's very, very similar to our other Omega that we've shown on our website, on our Instagram, on our videos as well. But this one is the reference 1360050 from the 1970s. Very similar case shape to this watch here, which is the 166012 or 1250, something like that. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm really bad with reference numbers, but very, very similar to this one, but a little bit different because this one has actually got a manual wind movement in it. It's this caliber 613 manual wind movement, and it's a very, very unique movement. So I'm excited to kind of show you guys this watch. So I'll flip perspective so you guys can get a close-up on this one, so you can kind of take in the real beauty that this watch really has. Like I said, this one is available on our store, so if you are interested in learning more about this watch, feel free to check it out on our website. I'll put a link in the description to this specific watch. Also, if you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to us. We've also got some beautiful wrist shots of this watch on our Instagram, so you can check us out there. Anyway, I'll stop rambling and I'll flip perspectives so you can see this watch. Alright guys, so let's take a look at this Omega that we have just listed in our store. You can obviously see that this is a very different feel to the Omega that we discussed previously. And you can see the aesthetics of the watch are very, very different. If you even just take a look at the two, you can see this one feels a lot more pristine. This one has a little bit more age to it. One of the things that's very interesting about vintage watches is the subjectivity when it comes to what people like in vintage watches. I think there's a real there's definitely a range of what vintage can be described as, and I think this is on one end and the other one is on the other. So I'll give you some basics about this watch. This watch is the Omega. It's just an Omega Geneve. It's the reference 1360050. And this watch dates to the 1970s. What's quite unique about this watch is the fact that it actually has a manual wind movement in it. A lot of the watches that have the similar case shape actually have automatic movements because automatic movements became a lot more popular. But this is actually the caliber 613 manual wind movement that's running in this watch. So hours, minutes, seconds, and then it's got that date function at 3 o'clock. Obviously the case itself is in stainless steel, and the stainless steel case is actually in fairly good condition. And it comes on this stainless steel, very 70s Omega bracelet. You can see there's a little bit of wiggle on the bracelet, and it makes quite a bit of noise, and I think that's something that some people think is kind of unique about the 1970s Omegas. Something that I didn't mention about this watch is it has a very different feel than the last Omega. So if you look carefully, you can see that the hours and minutes hands have those basically loom areas on the inside of the actual hand, and the material that was there has actually started to fall out, and you can see there's a little bit left on that minutes hand, but the hours hand doesn't have a lot of that left. Also, the dial itself has quite a bit of aging on it, which again is very different than our other Omega. The watch itself measures 35 millimeters in diameter, very similar to the other Omega that we've shown you, this one right here. And again, has that very sporty feel to it. It has that kind of porthole inspired case shape that is reminiscent of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, the Patek Philippe Nautilus, and many other stainless steel sports watches that are similar to that. I'm gonna put this watch on really quickly so you can take a look at how it looks on my wrist when it comes to the proportions. And so you can see here, the watch itself fits really, really nicely. One of the things I love about these watches is the integration of the bracelets. You can see the bracelet itself is kind of integrated into the case, as opposed to having lugs like this one has very, very integrated into the bracelet, which gives it a really nice feel. Like I said, Omega signed clasp. That has its vintage scratches on it, of course, but still fits really nicely. It's really, really snug. I like the way this watch fits. It's not too big where it feels like it's overpowering my wrist, but not too small where it feels like I have nothing on my wrist, which I think is really important when it comes to watches. watches like these. One of the things I like about the dial of this watch is that it actually has kind of like a blue hue to it. If you look at the kind of bottom by where Geneve is located, it has quite an interesting little blue hue to the dial. So a really nice watch, a really beautiful watch that fits really nicely on my wrist, and again has that 70s look that I really love. Just to kind of show you guys this watch with the other one, some of the main differences, like I said, were kind of the definition of vintage on these two watches, but also if you look at the lugs, you can see this one has integration. It's integrated into there. This one actually has specific lugs where you're gonna put that strap on, or that bracelet. Obviously date, only date. So those are some of the other differences. One of the things that's really cool about this movement is the way that they approached how the date is set on this watch. So one of the things that's very interesting is if I pull the crown out once, you'll be able to move the time. And again, gear ratio is pretty nice. Nothing to write home about, of course, but still very smooth, very easy to adjust the date, the time, excuse me. But what's unique about this watch is how the date is adjusted. And the way that the 613 is created is the way that you actually adjust the date is by pulling out the crown. So if you pull out the crown, you'll see the date has changed. And then if you push it back in, you pull out again, the date changes again. And so that was something that I thought was very unique about the 613 movement. I personally haven't experienced many Omegas or many movements where you're pulling out that crown like that. Let me know in the comments if you know of a lot of other watches or another reference from Omega that does that. Obviously there's going to be some others because there of course always are, but I thought that was a very unique thing about the caliber 613 from Omega. Like I said, this watch is available on our store, so if you are interested in this watch, be sure to check it out there. We have some more information there with some good pictures there that you can check out. Also, if you have some questions about this watch, feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to answer all the questions you have about this watch. And with that said, guys, I'm going to flip back to the other perspective so we can close up the video. Great, so I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this really beautiful reference from the 1970s from Omega. Like I said, it's a really nice watch because I like the fact that it's a little bit more sporty and it gives you that Audemars Piguet feel, but still is within kind of a vintage size or a 35 millimeter size. I really love these watches from Omega, and I think a lot of people have kind of taken notice of them within the last couple of years. And I love the fact this is in stainless steel as well, just because I think stainless steel, it's like a stainless steel sports watch from Omega from the 70s. You know, what you can't really think of a cooler story than that. So like I said, it's on our store, so check it out there. Also, if you have any questions about this watch, be sure to reach out to us. I'm always happy to answer all your questions. Also, if you did not do it in the beginning of the video, be sure to smash that like button for us for the YouTube algorithm, because I would love the algorithm to push these videos to the right people. That's the most important thing, that people who are interested in these videos are actually going to end up seeing them. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time.